Hi, this is Douglas. I'm back with you. This is part 3 of the video I was doing regarding my trading console. And as I said, part 3 we're going to focus on strictly the charts on the 2 worksheets, the spreadsheet. I'm so used to calling everything a chart, but I was referring to these spreadsheets. However, let's take one quick brief look at that same chart we were looking at earlier. I want to point out something that happened. After I did part 2, I was uploading it. My family came back in from the pool. No, I don't have my own pool. It's a community pool where I live. Anyway, I ran over to the supermarket to get a few things while the video was uploading, and while they were taking their showers, and I came back, and I see that we had some pretty crazy price action. I'm actually glad I didn't get into that short just yet. Had no regrets because something happened, and it must have been news related, but this news was not posted on the website on Forex Factory unless it was the news that was posted earlier. Because the last time we had some news was at 9:30 p.m. and this is really in the last hour or 45 minutes. Price, it just took a dive down here, and I was actually feeling really bad that I wasn't in on that trade. But then all of a sudden, it just took right off like crazy, and the market doesn't move like that around 10:30 on a Thursday night. It took off so fast that it even gapped. It gapped twice. It gapped here, and it gapped here. But what I wanted to note here is before it actually jumped up over here, and these are 5-minute candles, it kind of stuck around here for like 15 minutes. This same area where we were discussing earlier where that red line is, it held up for 15 minutes, and then it took off like a bat out of hell again and gapped. It must have been news inspired. Like moved 50 points in just 50 pips in a few minutes. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Not pointing out that it took off like crazy, but like this was a pretty strong holding point even during that move. And I think things are going to fall. What we're looking at here is we're looking at a 38.2 fib from the weekly. If we actually looked at a weekly chart, this chart's not going to do it. If I get out this weekly chart, and this is, like I said, this is the last time we're going to look at this. I'm going to stick with everything else. But if we went ahead and we looked at this weekly, if we took this fib from here to here, in this swing, we're at the 61.8 fib over here, and I don't think really price is going to, well, you know what? I don't think that's the fib I'm looking for. You know what? There's no way. We're not going to see it on the weekly. Maybe it's, oh yeah, here it is. I'm sorry. It was not a weekly. It was on a daily. I know that there was a fib around here somewhere. Yeah, 38.2 fib. It came up, hit that 32 fib, and then it dropped from there. Anyway, we're not looking at that anymore. We're going to get back to business here. We're going to just, I think this is going to be the last part. I think it's just going to be a 3-part video, but I'll stay in this video as long as it takes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But I just want to go over this. So here we have both charts together. We have the, I'm sorry. Now we have both charts together. Here we have the pivot points, and here we have the fibs. Every pivot point you can imagine we have. I updated the hourly pivots right before I started this video. I updated, the OHLC is current now. I've updated the 15-minute a few minutes ago, and I may or may not update it again during the course of this video. And here we get the range, and as you can see, the last hour that moved 55 pips in that previous hour. Like I said, that was news inspired. And in the previous 15 minutes, so somewhere between 11 and 11:15, price also moved another 40 pips. So that was quite a move. Now this is the previous hour candle, not the current hour. So, and right now it's 11:26. So this represents the hourly candle between 10 and 11. Price moved upward. Price moved upward. Sorry about that. Anyway, so anyway, the point I'm making really is how we get so much information just looking at it like this. You don't really see this information looking at just a chart. I mean, you see stuff on a chart, but you're not really looking at it in the kind of detail you're looking at it here. So between 10 and 11 p.m., price moved upward 55 pips. And then in the time between 11 and 11:15, price continued to move another 40 pips. So basically right now it's 11:27. So we could really say that in a 75-minute period, price moved 95 pips. So just by looking at this. However, in the previous 4 hours, price fell 34 pips. Yesterday, price fell 147 pips, and last week the market moved 423 pips, and last month the market moved 623 pips. So we got a lot of information here. It's very valuable information. We know that obviously in that previous hour between 10 and 11, price closed higher than it opened. In the 15 minutes between 11 and 11:15, price closed at a higher price than it opened. So this gives us some very valuable information. We also know that the 4-hour pivot point and the 1-hour pivot point are very close to each other, 43.17. It's also not too far from the daily pivot point of 43.28. And the 15-minute pivot point is at the moment, and that's about to change in 2 minutes, is at 43.44. So we have a lot of action over here. There's a lot of stuff going on in this area. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look here on the chart at 45.30, which is right here. Well, obviously, oh wait, we don't need these lines here anymore. Obviously, that information that we just saw on the spreadsheet's correct, because look at where price has been moving for the last several hours. Keep in mind that this is a 5-minute chart. We switch it to a 30-minute chart. Still, prices pretty much lived in this area for, well, these are 30-minute candles, so quite a few hours. Okay. So we got some very valuable information over here. And then, of course, we have, if these are going to be close to each other, then the M3s are going to be very close to each other. And the R1s are going to be rather close to each other. Here we got 43.65, 43.46, 43.30, 44.03. By the way, the 15-minute pivot points have just changed. So real quickly, I'm going to go here to my market scope. I'm going to go here to the euro dollar. Export to this only takes a second. If we're going to do a lesson on this, we might as well keep everything accurate. Remember, the top one is the one that we're in the midst that just started. See, this is the one that just printed. Here, Fibots. Now, we were just looking at that 15-minute candle, in that 50 minutes a few minutes ago, and that was up. Now it closed lower than it opened, and so that's red, and you know the market fell down 8 pips. So that doesn't really change the pivot point that much yet, but because of course the market only closed 8 pips below from where it was before, so that's not going to have a big effect on the pivot point. But anyway, it's very valuable information. By the way, I want to explain to you what this chart spreadsheet is and what it isn't. Well, what it isn't is it's not a histogram. I'm not giving you any history. The only history you're getting is the previous monthly candle, weekly, all that information. We're not accumulating historical data over years or months, weeks, days. Okay, it's just previous candle, whether it's the previous monthly candle, weekly candle, or 15-minute candle. That's all this is. It's just a guideline so we could work with these pivot points and fibs. So anyway, how are we going to use this with this? Well, the way we use these two together is this. Step one is this. We're going to go ahead and look at these. Okay, first of all, we want to know where we're at in price right now. Where is price at right now? Say it's about 43.40. Cool. We're not going to be concerning our price with prices, with price here in the 36 or 3800s. We know that the euro dollar only moves about 100 to 120 pips a day. So right now, if we're in the, we just closed a few minutes ago at 43.44. We didn't even need to look at the chart just now. All we had to do was look at the close, because the close was just a few minutes ago. And we knew that we're in the 43.40 area. We know price isn't going to go from here to 1.5396 or even 1.45. We want to keep an eye on areas that are like around maybe not much over 44.40, 44.75, that area. So anyway, with that being the case, in fact, I'm going to bold this for right now. Okay, just to give us a guideline. So now what we're going to do is this. We're going to look at Fibots, okay, which are extensions of Fibonacci extensions of that particular candle. So for example, if we were to look at the euro-dollar daily, okay, that would be the daily pivot point for the euro-dollar, which is, actually I'm going to go ahead and hold that for right now. This is the central daily pivot point for the euro-dollar, okay. And if we wanted to look at the fibs, the other fibs that come with it, the R1s through the R2, the R1 through the R3s, and the S1s through the S3s and the M's, we would go ahead and we would look at these. We'll look at the significant areas, like the S2 and the R2. And the S2 is around 41.81. So then what we're going to do here is we'll go here to the daily, and these are support. These are the support pivots. So we're going to look at the support Fibots, and we're going to look at Fibots that are somewhere within this realm. But at the moment, if we're at 43.44, I don't see that we're going to go much, lower than 42.92 or 42.56. So let's look down here. 42.56. I really don't. There's really nothing here that would relate to here. So now I'm not going to even bother with that. If I'm going to look here at the S2, R1 to S2 area, which is resistance, I'm going to look at the resistance Fibots, and here I got some. no, I'm sorry. We're at 43, 44. This is more like 44.30. So that's like 100 pips away. But if we were in that realm, if we were near 44.30, okay, if we were in this vicinity, 44.03 to 44.39, there's no question about it that I would definitely be highlighting these two, and I will just for the sake of the lesson. So we know now that 44.30 and 44.55, okay, will be very significant pivot point areas because they're also pivot point extensions of the daily, and they are overlapping with they're definitely overlapping in this realm. Definitely the 44.40 would be a reversal pivot point I would definitely look at. So with that being said, if price was was like in the 4400 area, I would definitely be looking to take a short off of 44.40, 44.39. Or if I was in a long and I was going to get to that area, I would definitely exit my trade. And the M4 just happens to be a reversal pivot point area. But the fact that it corresponds with a Fibot, over here, there's absolutely no doubt at all whatsoever I would get out in that for my trade or enter a short, and I would feel very comfortable with it. Okay, now what we would also do here, see, now that we have all these different pivot points right here in front of our very eyes over different time frames, so we could take advantage of the situation now, and based on where price action is at this very moment, 43.45, we can actually start looking, you know, at other pivot zones that are in that area, you know, like this one here, 43.46, 43.48 for the R1 at this moment. We know that the 15-minute R1 is very dynamic. It's going to change soon. We know that the 4-hour pivot point is 43.51. I mean, the 4-hour M4 to R2, 43.41. Here's another one at about 43.51. So we would definitely highlight those at the moment. And M4, remember, M4 and R2, they're extremes, so they're reversal areas. So I would definitely say that this would be an area, 43.40 to 43.50 is definitely an area where I would really consider to getting out of the trade. And of course, you know, that corresponds with the daily. I'm sorry, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It does, well, you know, it's not far from the daily 43.28 to the 43.66. So actually, yeah. So what I've just done was this. I took pivots, okay, the daily pivot extensions, and I overlapped them with Fibots, okay, and then I took that same price area and I overlapped it with other pivot points areas, okay, in these areas. And I could probably add more weight. Like I could go to the 4-hour, okay, central pivot point here, or go here, you know, where it's 43.41, 43.30, and then I could go over here to the 4-hour. And as you can see here, same thing. We got 43, 45, 43, 50 right here. These are Fibots. So this adds even more credibility to this zone. So 43, we could really safely say that the area between 43.40 and 43.50 is a very powerful area. 43.40 to 43.50. Let's draw a line there. 43.40. And you know, let me get rid of this old line here. We don't need this here. This is just for the lesson. Let me get rid of, we don't need any of this stuff. Let me get rid of the fib here too. This is, like I said, this chart is just for lesson. 4340 to 4350. Okay. It is kind of interesting. Price, even though, you know, we had this, you know, huge move here, price did not break out of the 4350. I mean, it poked it. But if you look here, this is a wick on a green candle. Well, my candles are blue, but blue means green with me. I'll zoom in a little bit. Price wicked it, and then it came back down. Okay, and actually it closed here, but it didn't stay closed above the 4350 zone for a long time. I mean, as soon as it closed here, this candle continued and took it down, and now we're back here in the 4340 area. So we are in the 4340 zone. Price doesn't really seem to want to go beyond that. So in fact, price seems to want to fall back. So we could pretty well, and by the way, you got to look at everything in zones. Nothing is really down to the pip in forex trading. But no matter what, I mean, this is definitely a powerful area according to the spreadsheet, and these lines here are from the spreadsheet, and it's definitely being confirmed here by price that price doesn't want to break that area. So no smoke and mirrors here. No, you know, there's no camera tricks. I mean, this is real stuff. We were just looking at 4340. Let's look at the midvits for a minute. 4330 to 4350 on the midvits. So 4338 is here on the 1 hour. 2 more minutes, we're going to have another 15-minute candle print. That's on the 1 hour. 4346 is a midvit here. $43.47 is a midvit here. Wow, 43.35. Actually, I think I'm beginning to really like my midvits. Look at that. These are very precise. 43.47, 43.35. Now this is green, which means support. But once again, it's only support if price was already above it and came down and hit it. If price is below it, it's really resistance. Okay, just so you know. Now let's go ahead and compare this, the daily and the weekly, to 43.40. I just want to look at these two. Oh, and also don't look at the monthly midvit. That's interesting too. 43.55. Did price go to 43.55? Well, look at that. Price came over here. It poked the 43.55 area. Oh, interesting. Didn't close above 43.55, did it? Actually, yeah, I like my midvits. I'm going to have to start focusing very hard on these. And so now, once again, here we got the same thing. We got the Fibots. Here's the monthly. Okay, so the 43.55 falls somewhere between the 43.10 and the 43.80. I know that's a wide area, but keep in mind, 70 pips is not a very large distance considering it's a monthly chart. And 43.45 is very close to this midvit of 43.55. And like I said, we got this. That's weird. I don't know why that happens a lot lately. Okay, so very, very powerful area. And we could round it off to the 43.50, since the 43.50 is a somewhat of a psychological level. It ends with a 0. 43.50, that's halfway between 43 and 44. So, alright, how are we doing with this video? Well, I want to cover everything in this video, so I don't want to do a part 4. However, if I have to do a part 4, I will. I don't think you guys even want to stick it through another part. By the way, if you guys love this videos, let me know. All right. I'm not really a professional speaker. Speaking really, it's not my strong points in life. I'm a very reclusive person. I'm not used to talking to crowds. Anyway, we're going to go back over to the pivot chart here. So now we're going to cover fibs. We're going to spend a little bit more time over here. I think I covered enough, enough of the pivots for right now. If though, some of you guys are interested, I'll keep making videos here and there. That's what I do. You've seen me do this already, but go ahead and do it again. Oh, okay. There it is. Let's go ahead and make another 15-minute chart. $, 15 minutes, save that. This time let's observe right now. Remember, we're at 8 pips down from the close. It's red. So watch this. Just keep a mental note of that. Go here. Save, and here we go, we're back. Oh, okay. So, in the last the last 15 minutes, price is also, it's closed again at a lower than it opened, and in the last 15 minutes, it's fallen 9 pips. Interesting, huh? Okay. All right. Now, so here we go. Now we're gonna look more. We're gonna look at the fibs. This is the fib chart. I'm sorry, I just I have a bad habit. I always like to watch price action. I also like to watch the dollar index. The dollar index gives us a lot of information. If you like to trade the euro dollar or any of the majors, start looking at the dollar index chart. It's very, very important. Okay. And remember, if the dollar index is going up, then that means the dollar is going up. And so if the dollar is going up on the dollar index, remember that on the euro dollar or pound dollar, that means that this chart would be dropping, falling, okay? Because if the dollar is getting strong, price is falling in this particular case. I'm going to pause the video for just a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, but kids are home from school for the summer, and they tend to be up a little bit later at night than they should, and I'm one of those easygoing dads. So anyway, by the way, there's a very good chance I might have to make a final 4th part after I'm done with this one, because this video is already pushing 30 minutes, and I still have to attack the fibs, and then after that I want to give you a little bit of a review on the fibs. So anyway, let me explain to you what this is all about. I already explained to you what these are in relation to the pivot points. These are Fibots, and all Fibots are is Fibonacci extensions, okay, of the range. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to determine the Fibot on a daily candle or the daily range, okay, I could use an indicator, or I could do a Fibonacci study on a daily candle. In fact, I'm going to do that here just for the sake of the lesson. But what I want to tell you is that the Fibonacci extensions of those would also be the Fibonacci extensions for these. For example, before, in my previous video, I mean not this part, but on my previous version of the spreadsheet, I had a worksheet, Excel worksheet, strictly for Fibots, and I decided that's not really necessary, because I'd be better off just having a a worksheet just for fib retracements. And by the way, I had two fib retracement worksheets, one for retracements to the upside and one for the downside. But I decided that that wasn't even necessary. I was actually able to combine all three charts into one. The extensions, the Fibot extensions, and the retracements, whether they're up or down. And what I did was I just made this 21.4 and 78.6, 38.2 and 61 point, and then that again like this. And that's because the thing is this. The 21.4 and the 78.6 are exact reciprocals of each other, and the 38.2 and the 61.8 are exact reciprocals of each other. This is very important for you all to understand, so please bear with me, pay attention. Now I'm going to get out the chart, and what I'm going to do is just for an example, I'm not going to use this chart, I'm going to use a different one. No, we'll use this one. We're going to get rid of these lines now, we don't need them. I made my point. Let's turn this into a daily chart. You know what, let me get rid of everything that's here. Yeah, I think there's going to have to be a part 4. I know you guys have got to be getting into this. You have to be. I mean, how could you not? Okay. This is the new candle for today. This is today's candle. So whatever we're looking at, when we're looking at the pivot points, it's really based on yesterday's range. So that would be yesterday's candle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line here. And I'm going to draw a line here. Okay. Because it's really, really hard to do a fib of just a candle. And then I'm going to turn this into, say, an hourly chart. Yeah, okay. And let's see, make sure this is right down to the pip. No, it is. I want this to be very accurate. Okay. So here you got, what you're looking at really right here is yesterday's range. Oh, you know, let me do one more thing just for the giggles and kicks. I don't want to confuse anybody. Okay. I'm going to go back to the hourly. Now you guys will be able to understand how my brain works and how I do things. Alright, this is yesterday. All yesterday, according to this chart. If I point my mouse here, you'll see at the bottom it says 0000. That's yesterday at midnight. Today at midnight, according to MT4. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fib from here to here. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to do another fib from here. Now I'm doing this slowly. I'm going to do this very slowly. I want you to see what's about to happen. This real slow. Oh, you know, before I do it, let me just point out. Look here. You see now? Here we got, because I drew it from here to here. By the way, I draw my fibs backwards because I'm showing Fibonacci extensions. Let me show you what that looks like, by the way. If you look here, if I go fib properties, you'll see how I actually do this. See, I told you the 21.4 is the reciprocal of the 78.6. So here is your 21.4, okay, and here's your 78.6. See, everything is exact reciprocals of each other. But for me to get the extensions the way I want them to be, I actually have to draw the fib backwards. But it doesn't matter; it's the same, okay. So by drawing it, in other words, they always say draw it with the trend. So a lot of people go from here to here, okay. That wouldn't quite look right. So if it's a downtrend and I want to measure the fib that's going to fall, then I'm going here. You know, let me do it for you one more time so you see what I mean. If I'm measuring a fib that's going to lead price to fall, I'm doing it like this. Okay, nice and slow. Be precise. Now, by the way, so let me zoom out to a 4 hour. See here now, you'll see these are the extensions. These are the Fibots, by the way. But I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Let me go back down here. Now, watch what happens when I draw this fib line going the opposite direction. This would be technically be considered a reverse fib. By the way, as you can see, the extensions now are coming up in the other direction. But look what happens. Did you see that? They're over. See what's happening here? The fibs are overlapping. See the 21.4 here? Are you watching that carefully? See here? Just watch, because my mouse is busy down here. I want you guys to watch. The 21.4 is the exact reciprocal of the 78.6, and the 38.2 is the reciprocal of the 61.8. 50% is 50%, and you see how they all sort of like overlap with each other here exactly? Okay, that's perfect. Now, so what that's really doing is this. It's showing you, because we don't know what's going to happen yet. This isn't hindsight trading. Okay, we're trying to figure out what price is going to do before it happens. So if price fell, we would expect it to come back to about here and continue to fall. But then again, if price was going up, we would also expect that it could come down and then a little bit to this level and then go upward. We really don't know what it's going to do. Okay, that's why we don't trade, say fibs by themselves. We use other things to determine what's going to make that fib area more powerful, and that's why we also want to look at pivot points. So, for example, if price is already above here and it falls, and then there's a pivot, we know that it's more than likely going to keep going. If price is down here and it comes up, and then there's a pivot point, we know it's probably going to keep falling. But anyhow, if I wasn't using my spreadsheet, and if I didn't have an indicator, which, by the way, I do have a Fibot indicator, but I don't like it, but I do want you to know that they do exist. I think I showed it in one of the other videos. In fact, here, let's see here. Let's do here's a Fibot. I'm only going to leave it here for a second. This is a Fibot for the day. Watch what happens. And see this? These are the Fibots. They actually overlap with mine. So, as you can see, I'm not pulling your leg. And I knew you didn't think I was pulling your leg, but as you can see, their Fibots actually match my Fibots. You see? Here it is. Here it is right here. If I move this a little bit, you'd see that. See? So, all right. But I don't like that. I think it's ugly. I just don't like it. I used to use that indicator. I never cared for it. So. But obviously other people besides myself see how important Fibots are. They are important, and they do need to be looked at and observed. But anyway, if you look here, the 4490 is the 161.8 extension. So if we go over here, and that's based on the daily. So let me just go here, daily. I'm sorry, 4490. That's why I got confused. 4490. I'm very bad with numbers. 4490, 4491. So, oh, and here we go. Here it is right here. That is the 161.8 fib, and that would be, of course, a resistance fib extension. Whoops. And if we go back, you'll see here that the 161.8 here is 4163. That's a support, 4163. And well, close enough. 4161. Believe me, this is accurate. I probably just didn't draw the line right perfectly, but I could probably, if I adjusted that line. I am oh, this one. Okay, so no matter what, all right. You see 4162.74. Anyway, so that's okay. That was for that lesson. That's what I wanted to point out. All right. So, where was I? Oh, 40 minutes, gosh. I think I'm going to have to wrap this one up and I'll do one more part. I'm going to do that right away. I'm going to do that now. In fact, I know people are anxious to watch this video. But in conclusion here, until we move on to the next one, I'm going to get a little bit more deeper into this, and I'm going to go deeper into how we correlate what we have here with here. But now you understand now in this video how Fibonacci extensions relate to the retracements, and how you have different Fibonacci levels, how your 78.6 is your reciprocal of your 21.4. So you understand that if we were looking at if we were expecting price to go up, and we were looking for a fib, fib is when it is a dip. Okay, if we're up in an uptrend and we're taking a fib, we're going to take a fib. The fib's going to be the dip. Okay, so we're going to buy the dip. So we would be looking at the green. Okay, we'd be looking at the numbers here on the green side. So if we're looking at a 38.2 or a 21.4, or say a 50% fib going upward, we'd be looking at these numbers. Of course, if price was falling and we were looking at fib levels going downward, we'd still be looking at these same levels, but we'd be looking at a 61.8. So 1.4343 is a 38.2 fib if price is going up, but it's also a 61.8 fib if price is falling. 50 is absolute. Whether you're going up or down, obviously half the candle is half the candle in any direction, so that'll be 43.26. Now, if price was going up, okay, just like here, and then it took a dip to a fib level, if it was going to go, if the previous hourly candle, if this particular hourly candle did a 61.8 fib dip to the upside, and then it would stop at 43.17 and keep going. But at the same time, if it was a downtrend, okay, that would be really that same figure, the 43.17 would really be a fib, a 38.2 fib to the downside. And another thing is, if you were really considering that we're in a downtrend, and technically we are in a downtrend at this moment, and the reason I know I say we're in a downtrend is because larger time frames, number one, trump the shorter time frames. So yes, we just had a 55 pip move upward, okay, on the hourly, as we can see right here. However, no matter what, yesterday we fell 147 pips, okay, and then in the previous 4-hour candle, the previous 4-hour action, price still fell 34 pips, okay. So yes, in that hour, price moved up 55, but I believe that was news inspired, probably news that wasn't even posted on Forex Factory. Something might have happened in Asia. Who knows? Could have been something from Australia or New Zealand. I don't know. But I know it was news inspired because price does not take off like that, 55 pips in 1 hour at that time of the evening during this type of market, especially with the euro dollar. But anyway, the point I'm making here is this. If the previous 4-hour candle, okay, closed lower than it opened, and it closed, it dropped 34 pips, then really, if I was looking to enter a position just on that alone, without looking at anything else, I would have to assume that price is going to keep falling. Okay, and that previous 4-hour candle was during the slow time of the day, so I would assume that maybe price is going to continue to fall. And at the moment, it is beginning to fall. I mean, look, we can't say it's not falling. I mean, yeah, it flew up, but you know, it could keep going down. You know, who knows? So, but what I'm getting at is this: if this is red, then I would be looking more at these. Okay, I'd be assuming that price will probably fall, continue to fall somewhere between 43.17 and 43.25, because I'm looking at the reds. Say somewhere halfway, 43.21. Okay, of course, that's not really that accurate. I mean, price did go up to 43.62, but let's assume this was news. This is definitely not normal price action. Price did stay right here around 43 most of the time. It stayed. In fact, it fell for a while, but it lived in this area, 43.32. So 43.32. So it kind of coincides with this. I mean, it really does, and it definitely coincides with this. If price was going to see here, 43.26 here is the 50% fib of yesterday's daily candle. So you know, and yesterday the market fell. It fell 147 pips yesterday. There's no reason why it's not going to keep falling today. Price does not like do V's so often. I mean, it happens. Price does fall like that, and then, but it usually doesn't V right upward. It does sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to say it never happens, okay? But price very rarely does this and then this. I mean, it does do it. I'm not going to say it doesn't. I've seen it happen many times. It does this, but usually it doesn't. Usually it does like this, and then like this. You know, that's just pretty much how price is. So if I'm really looking then at the and by the way, the market's really slow. Usually after a big move like that, you know, we're going to see just consolidation for a while. Yeah. But anyway, what I'm getting at is this: if a 4-hour, you know, yesterday's candle were all red, price has been falling, then I would really be looking more at shorting, and I'd be looking at fibs retracements to the downside of the daily and the 4-hour candle. So, you know, this is the area right here, and this realm here seems to be close to this. You know. Anyway, I'm going to cut this video now because it's already 48 minutes, and I'm going to do one final one, and it'll be a short one. It's just going to be a conclusion, and we'll go over this just a little bit more, and then that'll be it. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes.